Hello, I'm Jonathan Morton, and welcome to Judge the Cover, where I take an in-depth look at cover design by judging what factors help the cover succeed or fail at capturing its targeted audience. Today, I will be looking at the cover of The Magicians by Lev Grossman, cover art by Didier Massard, and cover design by Java Maciel. I hope I said all those names right, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced them. All of their links, however, are listed below, so that should help with any kind of issues that might come up from mispronouncing their names. Now take a good look at the cover, the spine, and here's the first sentence from the blurb on the back. Quentin Coldwater is brilliant, but miserable. Does this cover have what it takes to stand out and be taken home? Or will it be doomed to collect dust on the shelf and disappear into obscurity?
There's no denying that people judge things by their covers, and it usually comes down to wanting to shy away from or engage more into a particular experience. The saying, "Don't judge a book by its cover," can apply to a variety of situations, and in general, is a good rule to follow. By making snap judgments, we deprive ourselves of the ability to dive deeper, learn more, or experience something new. However, being able to judge a situation quickly can not only protect us, but increase the likelihood of engaging in experiences we already enjoy. In the book world, covers craft these expected experiences in readers' minds. So, the question becomes, how do you get the right readers to pick up your book? I believe it's all about how they judge the cover.
Before I get too deep into the analysis, I want to start off by saying that The Magicians is a great story. But look at this cover. I don't understand it. It's a nice piece of art and it suggests a deeper meaning, but I don't understand it at all. I mean, after reading the book, I can make some assumptions, and maybe that's why it's designed as it is. It does sort of go on theme with the book, but I wonder if designing a cover that really only makes some sense after you read it is a smart way to go. Especially if this is the first cover for it, which after looking it up seems to be the case. It may have been an attempt to separate itself from Harry Potter, as in a way it is an adult Harry Potter kind of book. Obviously the book is a success and there is more going on here besides the cover. I'm just wondering what part the cover had to play in this role. With all that said, I'm strictly going to stick to the cover and attempt to maintain a point of view of someone who hasn't heard of the story and is strictly judging on what is provided here. So let's see what the Magician's cover can teach us today. Let's start with the spine. The first thing I noticed was how different it is. On your average spine, the designer's goal is to get the author's name and the title of the book as big as they can. But not here. Both are made to fit in the center third of the cover, giving way to this B and key pattern. I believe this was a smart decision as it instantly separates it from other spines around it. A quality that is needed due to it having a smaller frame, which could have made it easy to miss. The first time I saw this book, I remember wondering a lot about the B and key pattern. This actually got me to pick up the book and inspect it further. It was then that I noticed the letter B was also in the pattern, which to be honest, just added to the confusion. This is where I've got to stop and ask, am I missing something? I know these things play a role in the story, but does this pattern signify something more, or is it just a cool way to display these items? I feel like it should be something more. This same confusion flows over to the front of the cover, so let's just move on to that now. Although I think it's a cool image, I have difficulty understanding what it means. At first glance it seems like it's going for fantasy, something centered on using nature as magic, but that's only because the title says the word magicians in it. The mist feels somewhat mysterious, but I don't feel like this front design tells me anything about the story. I mean, it almost feels like a horror story cover in some ways. A case could be argued that because the design is more symbolic, that it invites the reader to explore it more, but it's honestly hard to tell. But right now, I'm sort of thinking, based on the cover, that this is a horror story with magic in it. Maybe the magicians are the evil ones? And yes, just to clarify again, I know that's not what the story is about, it's just the impression I get from the cover, although there is that one scene. But like I said earlier, after reading the story, I like how the cover fits, but that's why I don't care for covers that rely so much on symbolic imagery. I don't care about all these elements you're showing me because I'm not yet invested in them. And I feel like leaving them too much up to interpretation could mess with expectations. But that's why we have the blurb. So Let's move to the back and see if it can straighten things out for us. If you get to the back of the cover, it does do a good job at clarifying things for you. I know that I'm usually a bit harsh on the author quotes, but these ones do a good job. By reading them, I learned that this is a coming-of-age story, and that it is best described as an urban fantasy. The blurb itself feels like a spoiler, but does its job to hit its main selling point. I am like Harry Potter, designed with a bit of Chronicles of Narnia, but with the added twist that comes with darker themes and adult situations. A smart but bold move, as if it doesn't deliver on those promises, I think the book would have bombed bad. It's risky to compare your story to the bigger titles like this, and only a few people can pull this off. Please, if you're a new author, don't try to sell your book in this way. It worked here, but yeah, don't do it. Regardless of that, I'm hooked by the idea of what this book can be, but I still don't know much about the story. So, what does that mean when it comes to this book's rating? Well, I'm glad you asked. For me, The Magician's book cover gets a score of sampled, which is what I did, which led to me reading it and discovering the cover does indeed set up a great expectation for the story. But what about the target audience? This book is definitely made for fans of Harry Potter that want to explore what a more adult version of it would be like. If they made it to the back blurb, I believe they would at least add it to their TBR list. The reason this cover doesn't get a much higher score is because it's too full of symbolic imagery. I could easily see someone stopping at the front cover and then setting it down before reading the blurb. But my problem is, I don't know what type of cover I would have made for this book. So symbolism was the right way to go. Yes, I know I'm being contradictory, but this cover both fits the story and at the same time does not sell the story to the people who don't know about it. Now I'm going to have to do a whole book on symbolism on book covers. That could be interesting. But what do you think? Let me know below what score you would have given The Magician's cover, and if I accurately identified the targeted market for this book. If The Magician's caught your attention, I linked its Amazon page below for your convenience. It's a good way to add it to your TBR or wish list, sample it, or possibly buy it. Thank you for watching. If you have any covers that you think need to be judged, or would just like me to analyze, please let me know below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell because subscribing alone does not guarantee that you will see my video when I come out with a new one. And share, as it will help me grow the channel and allows me to continue making content like this. And as always, don't forget to learn, create, and help others do the same. I'll see you next time.